All right, folks, we're at the last chapter, chapter 14 of The Art of Conversation. And the title of this is Making Your Voice Work for Your Success. I think this is the most difficult chapter for me because it has to do with your voice. so, and to summarize it, it talks like about different vocal resonance chambers inside in your mouth and your nose and behind there and your vocal cords and all that good stuff, which I know nothing about. Um, he also talks about like different exercises to do, humming exercises with your mouth closed, and experiments to do. Like you hum like with your mouth closed, and then close your nose and see what happens. See, so uh, so I don't know, but it's a good chapter, and it's way above my skill set. But I will try to summarize it for you. I got so many highlights in this chapter that I mean, it's like you got to check the book out. I'm gonna try to explain this. Um, First, what I'll do is I'll give you the section titles. So, the title of this chapter is "Making Your Voice Work for Your Success," and the subtitles are "Discovering the Basic Key to a Commanding Voice," "Learning How to Control Your Voice Tone," "Learning How to Breathe Dynamically," and he does this like says like a wrong way to breathe and a right way to breathe. How to give yourself a lifelong quality sound, working your vocal cords properly, learn how to relax your muscles. I think the key point, it seemed like in this chapter, was if you talk in a relaxed tone, uh, if you're totally relaxed, then it's your optimal voice, perhaps, it seems like. Okay, so techniques that put attractive resonance into any voice, using your pharynx as a resonator, using your nose as a resonator. So if you got a cold, I don't know how you use your nose as a regular resonator. Using your mouth as a resonator, how to tune your resonators, how to tune your resonator, little tuning knob, tune his nose here, tune the mouth, pharynx, little adjustment on the larynx there, instrument. I hope you like this AI art, by the way. This is OpenAI's DALI 2. Let's see this full picture here. Kind of funky. One side singing ants, and I'm not sure what I put for the other side. Probably something to do with lunar module because it looks like they got spacesuits on. Aliens have landed on Grand Canyon, drinking beer, smoking cigarettes, playing chess or something. And the other ones are ants playing guitar and drinking beer and probably smoking cigarettes or something. Something else. So, how to be sure your voice expresses your ideas clearly. And don't forget, I pause in these videos. Use that as meditation or hyperspace. A comment below. Hyperspace through time space warp control system down there. The the scroll controller. Using your mouth as a resonator. How to tune your resonator. How to be sure your voice expresses your ideas clearly. Okay, I do that. Let's see what we got here. Letting your voice speak for your personality. How the depth of your knowledge reservoir shows in your voice. How your mastery of your emotions shows in your voice. And how attitudes affect your voice. All right. So those are the section titles, subtitles. I mean. All right. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's another problem with social media is you don't have voice tones. I mean, this whole chapter is like for the last 2 decades, social media has been just text and pretty much text and images, but that's about it. And now it's becoming a little more video, probably, which is I think could be better if social media probably switched to video. But who knows? Maybe it'll end up being that way. So instead of writing text comments, you just write a video comment. um, so all about your voice is like the controlling the airflow from your lungs, the muscles of your chest, and down there, all those different muscles. This is like a whole art in itself, a whole field, a science probably, or a specialty. There's probably people specialize in this, and probably all kinds of books are written on this subject. Just this one chapter is talking about staccato. I don't even know what staccato is. Alexa, define staccato.
As an adjective, staccato is usually defined as shortened and detached when played or sung. As an adverb, staccato is usually defined as in a staccato manner. As a noun, staccato is usually defined as performance in a staccato manner. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for staccato.
Okay, I still don't understand. Uh, the author talks about learning how to control your voice tone. So, contracting your diaphragm muscles to draw air into your lungs, contract your abdominal muscles to force air out of your proper pressure, muscle relaxing muscles, blah blah blah, muscles, abdominal, trying the soft humming exercise again, timing how long you can hold a continuous humming tone. You can sing in the shower, humming. Learn how to breathe dynamically, the kind of breathing that produces a commanding voice. Inflow marks. Okay. And the author says the right way to breathe is expand your waistline and slightly lift your lower ribs up a portion of your chest, and your shoulders should not move. The author talks about the wrong way. You can check out the book to find out what the wrong way is. Um, he says tips from professionals: breathe from your midsection. I don't know how to breathe from my midsection. Maybe I do. I don't know. I have to experiment with that. How to give yourself a lifelong quality sound. Okay, so all right. So yeah, there's a lot of details in here. I'm not gonna give you all the details. Like say, check the book out. Your body has resonators to amplify the weak tones so that others hear it as a vibrant or full voice. I'll put in the comments a video of the vocal cords moving. I've seen a video of this. It's fascinating to look at. It really is truly fascinating, and it's eerie too at the same time. Because that's what's going on inside when I make a sound. When my lips move, which are out of sync, I think in all these videos. But anyways, you can see a video of the vocal cords going in and out, closing in and out. That's amazing. The mechanics of all that's going on. It's like our mouth and our nose and is all instrumentation, uh, evolved instrumentation, probably by mostly by accidents. Just happen to be a little more productive, different voices, more got more command of things. I guess if you have the right kind of voice, you can command an army of 7 billion people or 7 billion ants like these or these over here. This guy looks really motivated. I don't know what he's holding. It looks like a cigar that's shaped like a gun or something. And there's another one that's floating up in the air. Interesting AI art. Using your nose as a resonator. There's different experiments. Ultimately, like I said, the the crux of this whole chapter. If you get anything from this video, it's just if your voice is relaxed. If you have a relaxed voice, that's your appears to be, according to this author, the optimal voice. How do I feel right now about my voice? It probably depends on how many beers I've had. And I haven't had any beers today, so maybe I could borrow one from an ant or another creature. Now my voice is better. I was in Costa Rica trying to learn some Spanish a long time ago. Well, not too long ago. And I didn't know any Spanish really. But as I drank beer, I actually started to speak a little bit better somehow. And maybe it's just my brain thinking that I'm so drunk that I can speak Spanish already. So I guess the more beers I had, the easier it felt like I could speak. But I could. It makes sense if your voice is more relaxed. Maybe the words come out, no matter what language. Maybe come out a little bit better. Maybe that's another reason why people like to socialize and drink beers. Everything in moderation, though. If you read the book Magnificent Desolation by Buzz, you'll understand you don't want to abuse alcohol. So gotta have it in moderation. Treat it as medicine. That's things like you have a prescription. Yeah, as a kid, I've always had trouble with speaking. I think pronouncing weird sounds. It's still all weird to me. Try to learn Chinese. That's even harder. That's Mandarin. Mandarin's got like all these weird tones to it, and I guess even in the southern part of China, it's like even more tones. Uh, and the people in the north don't understand the people in the south. I guess even more extreme. In the United States, we have something not nearly as severely different, but like there's a southern accent versus like the rest of the country, and there might be like an eastern accent, Boston accent, maybe like a New York accent, maybe. I don't know if there's an accent where I'm from in Arizona, but or southwestern accent. There's also a British accent, and like if you hear people speaking English from India, it's kind of a British accent. And New Zealand and Australia, all very similar accents in English. Accent is a whole interesting. The author didn't really talk about accent in here, but it's fun to talk to people with different accents. It's just kind of interesting. I had a girlfriend a long time ago that had an incredible British style accent, and I was like, how did you get this accent? So uh, probably imagine she was probably taught by a British speaker. I imagine. Um, oh, this the author uses this word. I don't understand. I don't know what this word is. Bromide. Alexa, define bromide.
Bromide is usually defined as a salt of hydrobromic acid consisting of two elements, one of which is bromine, as sodium bromide, NaBr. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for bromide.
I don't know if that's the right definition. There's an old bromide. The author says that goes something like this. I don't know. There's chemical definition, but there's like a other definition. Let's look it up. I should also ask Google. Hey Google, Volume 7. Hey Google, define the word bromide. Oh, it's a commonplace remark or notion, cliche, platitude. Hey Google, stop. So then this interesting quote. I'm gonna quote a quote in the book. This bromide or bromide. I'm gonna pronounce it. She was so very beautiful that I couldn't wait until I met her. But then she started talking, and there's a proverbial saying that states, "Better to keep quiet and be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt." Uh, what you say and how you say it are the twin windows which let the outside world see what you're like inside. And sought after conversationalists make sure these windows reflect a pleasing personality. The what do you say banks off the strength of your knowledge reservoir. The how you say it is determined largely by the tone and quality of your voice. Oh yeah, this is interesting. Is the when you talk from a well-stocked knowledge reservoir, not only do your words have weight, but the quality of your voice has added strength. The English poet Edward Young says speech ventilates our intellectual fire, which kind of reminds me of Marcus Aurelius in his meditations books. Meditation often talks about mind fire, and the voice is kind of like the sound of the fire crackling or the soothing sound of the fire, depending on what kind of fire, what kind of mind fire, intellectual fire, mastery of your emotions. Don't be afraid to show joy and happiness. Be enthusiastic, but at all times keep control. You should be a master of your emotions. Never allow them to become a master of you. That's a good quote from the book, from the author. Uh, so in other words, don't be like Spock, but you can still express some emotions. I know Captain Kirk in the Star Trek movie. He's seen maybe he's like that. How your attitude affects your voice. Sincerity, for example, adds honesty and genuineness to any voice. In fact, lack of sincerity is one of the easiest attitudes for someone to detect. Have a positive state of mind. Good conversationists approach life from an active point of view. They realize that the joys of life belong to those who shed their inhibitions, to those who react to life situation in an active and positive manner. Yes. See, often in an earlier chapter, he's talked about shedding their masks, because a lot of times people wear masks in public. There's very few people that are genuinely honest in a way, are genuinely open. And of course, we have all these restraints, these speech uh, hierarchy, power control system. This, whatever platform put the video on, that if somebody gets offended, so they push the button and then you become erased like that. So, uh, but in spite of that, you can lose your inhibitions. I think it's one of the reasons why Joe Rogan probably left YouTube. Maybe he felt like he was kind of being pushed around by the big brother, so to speak, or big sister, or whatever we're going to call it. I think there's a great quote that's saying, if you want to know who has power over you, it's who you're not allowed to criticize, or something like that. Some quote I'm messing up, but that's it. We've just finished the book, and look at these wonderful blank pages in the back here. Oh, I can't even see it. Transfer a bunch of blank pages. You could write notes in there. And I didn't write notes. So we're done with this book. We finished it, and now what? Now what? Maybe we can read a book about this little guy. Okay. No. Uh, I don't know what book I'm gonna read next. I mean, I there is a book I'm gonna read, but I'm probably not gonna do videos on. At least not in the open web. Maybe in the dark web. But I will. I think I have one book. I mean, I have a bunch. I have like lots of books I haven't read. And I don't know which. Especially if I travel, I gotta be real careful about the mass of the and volume, mass and volume of what I bring with me. And I know one book I would definitely want to bring. The other book, so I'm like normally I just bring one book, but this time it looks like I'm gonna bring two books, maybe. I don't know, or just one, and do some other type of videos besides reading chapters. But I do enjoy doing these videos because I learn. as you learn. I don't know anything, so I mean, the book I read, I try to read something I don't know about, so I can learn something new. And I hope you learned something new with it too, and hope you uh, can get something out of it. And this particular chapter, this one I just finished, you practice your voice. Uh, so yeah. Um, well, okay. So I have lots of things to do. At the same time, I don't have anything to do, which is kind of a weird feeling. Lots of things and nothing. Uh, I guess what it means is I have like a project list of like 500 projects, and I'm like professional procrastinator. Well, I prioritize the whole list, so I only know like the top ones I want to do, but I just put all those off. But I know thankfully nothing on my list is critical. I'm unlike some people I know used to work in emergency room or stuff like that or wherever that's like uh, those jobs are I wouldn't envy anybody having to be in those type of jobs. Or everything has different levels of responsibility, but I don't know. How can you make a video how to stop nuclear war or people from doing weird things like make a strange virus? How do you do that? There's this thing that's called the Fermi paradox, and or this idea, this concept, or hypothesis, or whatever. And it's a question. The question of Fermi paradox is, this is such a vast universe. Why don't we see intelligent life? And one of the explanations of that may be a great filter event where once you develop the intelligence to make the tools, but you don't have the wisdom. You make you have the intelligence to make the tools, the technology to make the tools, but you don't have the wisdom to use the tools. And so the technology of the tools advances faster than the wisdom does. And what happens is the species becomes extinct. The quote unquote intelligent species becomes extinct. And so how do you get that wisdom with the technology, the rise in technology? That's a tough problem. um, because yeah, like atomic nuclear weapons, that's if you have a nuclear war, it's a civilization ending potential event. Maybe a few radioactive people eating some radioactive bananas afterwards might survive, but may mutate so badly that you know you wouldn't be able to reproduce anymore. So uh, yeah, and then creating viruses in the labs. That's a whole other. I highly recommend the book Viral. I'll put a link in the comment about this pandemic. The author admits they don't know. The authors admit they don't know, but um, what happened. But it seems like there hasn't been any specific animal identified that has the closest genetic code of the COVID virus, coronavirus. While it seems like maybe prior versions like SARS and whatever that word MERS, I think it was, may have been identified specifically to animals. Like I think MERS was like a camel or something. But anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about, so, and why I'm thinking of things these things. But I hope you enjoy the art. This well, quote unquote art. I mean, to me, it's pretty. I'm not an artist or anything, but it's amazing how interesting the OpenAI produces incredible pictures, and I don't. That would be a great video to do. Just try to explain that. I gotta watch people because people are explaining how they're training these OpenAI. I mean, they had to have some kind of training process to train the. Because I think it's reinforcement learning, which There's probably like neural networks, fuzzy neural is like a neural network is like an emulation of a brain, human brain in a sense, like a layer of nerves connections with weighted connections, mathematically. I think there's even chips now that are specialized for kind of modeling the special optimized for the neural processing or reinforcement learning processing. That's a whole other topic could talk about too. Next, I don't know what my next video is going to be. If I'm going to review a book or what, but uh, it looks like the short videos are the most popular for some reason because I think nobody has time for anything. So, but they do have time for a little few a 1 microsecond or 1 nanosecond video. So, uh, but I don't want to do this based on people's popular preferences or view counts or likes or subscriptions or whatever. I just want to do it just based on going with the way, like the Zen and Taoism, the way the universe kind of flows. Like the way the wind blows. Of course, I can see a lot of YouTube creators maybe follow the winds of their followers and their subscribers, and looking at the different likes, using that as feedback. I mean, I look at this. I look at it as pretty curious. I'm curious seeing like different views or kind of people perceive it, but that's an advantage a public speaker has is, and in a live audience is you can at least see people's faces. And I've haven't done any public speaking at all really, and I was like scared to death as a kid in school trying to do like a paper in front of class. It's like the scariest thing. And I guess they say that people are afraid of public speaking more than fearing of death, which is crazy. But yeah, I guess the reason why is just uh, people fight each other. Maybe that's people get jealous, people get angry, all those things. I mean, look what happened to a lot of great leaders. They just got vaporized. um, got vaporized, and so yeah, some people need to lead from anonymously. Uh, so okay, so that's the end of this video, and I'm going to get ready to load this up and put a timestamp comment at the bottom. I hope you enjoy this. And I just need to say goodbye. Or, no, I hope to see you next video. You take care of yourself. Enjoy the space time position of you are in the Earth somewhere out there in the galaxy. When I did this video, I was way out in space, way back, away from the. Let's see what's going on. The Earth is spinning towards the sun in the morning, right? So we're going this way. No, we're going this way. So I'm over that way. I'm way over that way in space when I made this video. That's why I'm like sitting in a chair out in space, way away from you guys watching this video in the future. It's kind of weird to think about because the Earth is moving around the sun really, really fast, and the sun's going around the galaxy. I'll put a link in the comment of the the vortex pathway that the Earth goes through. It's really like a vortex. You add all the velocity vectors up, and it travels in this weird uh, spiral, spiral screw uh, through space, space time. And if you're real curious about science, you can look at my whole first book I went through in this channel is uh, Theory of Relativity, which is really interesting, strange, and interesting. All right, you take care of yourself. Hope to see you later. All right.